What is going on, Pokemon fans? Welcome back to JD's Nerdverse. We're doing a prediction video today for this prehistoric fossil Pokemon, Aerodactyl. He looks very menacing. I'd be terrified to find this in real life. But let's go and go over the stats for this Pokemon real quick. The HP of this Pokemon is 80, the attack is 105, the defense is 65, special is 60, and speed is 130. So the speed is very good. It's one of the fastest Pokemon in the game. I know it's not the fastest. I know that goes to Electrode, but we might be just faster or not quite as fast as Jolteon. We're right around there, but it is one of the top 3 fastest Pokemon in the game. Well, so that's our best stat. So having a speed of 130 means we're going to critical hit 25% of the time. So 1 out of every 4 attacks should result in a critical hit. Okay, that's what that means. So very good speed, very good attack as well. All of our moves we get except for 1 are going to be physical. So having a high attack stat will coincide very well with the physical moves that we get. And we also have pretty decent HP. We kind of need that because the next 2 stats are horrible for our defense. Our defense is 65 and special 60. In Generation 1, special covers both your attack stat and defense. So 60 is not very good, especially for Pokemon doesn't evolve again. We're not going to have access to get a big jump in our stats later in the game, so we got to kind of survive with the special that we have. And defense is a little bit better than special, but not great. Now, I've mentioned something about Pokemon where if you have a big variance in stats, there's a glaring weakness. Special is our weakness here because we have 60 special and 130 speed, so that's a 70 stat variance. That means we have a gaping hole in our stats and our abilities, and it's going to get exploited, especially in Elite Four, where you have a lot of special attackers, and especially in the game, more or less. But that's our stats. So some things are great, some things are not great. But let's look at the moveset, see if our stats kind of work well or in conjunction with our moveset. So we start the game with Wing Attack and Agility. Wing Attack is a 35 base power, 100% accurate move. It's Flying type, so that is Stab. So that makes the power of this move 53. And we also get access to Agility. Agility is, and this is kind of like just kind of an axe gotta grind about Pokemon 1. And Gen 1, it is what it is. I've always said Pokemon Gen 1 is a glorious masterpiece of imperfection. There's so many things great about it, but there's so many things wrong with it, and it started something amazing. But why do fast Pokemon get Agility? It's already fast. Like Aerodactyl, nothing's going to outspeed Aerodactyl unless we're like 20 levels lower or something. Why do we have a move that's going to jack up our speed some more? Now, I'm not going to complain too much because I do get the badge boost out of this, so there's a huge benefit to it. But it does not make sense that fast Pokemon continuously get this move. Okay? Supersonic is a move we can get next. We're probably not going to use any move on here except, I guess that's not true. Supersonic we're not going to use because it's too inaccurate. It will confuse the opposition, but we're going to have to get rid of a move to do that. And at this point in the game, all these levels or moves are skewed to later in the game because you can't get Aerodactyl until you get this Cinnabar Island. And by then you're like in level late 30s, early 40s. And usually that's why Aerodactyl's not used very much. But you get it with the old Amber. I think I showed that in the previous video. One where I played through Pokemon 3rd generation without using a Pokeball. You should check that out. But anyway, Supersonic, not useful. Bite is going to be very useful because it's a physical move. Like I said, we don't get a lot of access to things. It's physical and it has propensity to make the opposition flinch, and it's 100% accurate. So pretty solid with this Pokemon. Works very well with it. Level 45 we get Takedown. We're not going to use this move at all. 90 base power, 85% accurate. It does recoil, and it's very inaccurate, and it's just not worth it. There's just better options out there. And at level 54, we get Hyper Beam, and the most powerful move, one of the most powerful moves in the game, was for sure. It's 150 base power, 90% accurate, and it works well with our attack stats. So if our attack stat's very high, this will be even more powerful. So that's our level up moveset. We actually probably couldn't do too bad in the final part of the game with Wing Attack, Agility, Bite, Hyper Beam. If we had to, that'd be our 4 moves that I would use. But we do have a TM moveset, and we're going to go over that right now. It's not very broad, and if you blink, you'll miss it, pretty much. So we start off with, from top to bottom, we go Razor Wind, 80 base power, 75% accurate, not going to use it. It's 2 turns, and if it was more accurate, I would probably consider it. If it's also considered flying type, I'd consider it. It should be flying type. It makes no sense why any normal Pokemon get this, but it makes complete sense why a flying Pokemon should get this. But it's 2 turns, so you have a turn of vulnerability, and then you have a turn of attack, and you're 75% accurate on that, so you may not even hit. Okay, Whirlwind is pointless. It's good for getting rid of wild Pokemon. There's no logical reason in a solo playthrough for anyone to have that, because you're just gonna do that, but you're also wasting one of your slots for a move. So no point in ever using that. Toxic, I could say there is a strategy with Toxic. You can use Toxic and Rest in conjunction, and just kind of like stall out the other Pokemon and whittle them down. But Toxic, not going to use. Takedown, not going to use. Double Edge, I could use. It's 100% accurate. It's 100 base power, works well with our attack stat. It's just the recoil damage. I try to avoid that as much as possible just because of the recoil. Hyper Beam, we could buy it early if we wanted to, and we'd have an earlier move if we really need to. But we get a level 54, and I think we can get by until level 54. Okay, Rage, if we got Rage like right away, if we started the game with Rage, it'd be fine, because attack stat's great, it works well with Rage, but we don't. So Rage will not be used. Dragon Rage, I kind of want to use. I kind of want to get the Celadon City and spend some coins, get Dragon Rage, so I have a consistent move. In the middle game, in the middle part of Pokemon Blue, you have to deal with a lot of, at least Giovanni twice. Okay, you might have a better way of beating Giovanni when you get to his gym, but the 2 in between, he's got some rock Pokemon and you really have nothing that does well against him, so Dragon Rage is a great counter to that. It'll do at least, I think I said in the previous video, it would do 45 damage, but no, it does 40 damage every time. So it's a set damage move, which isn't bad. It's perfectly fine. But it's not like an in-game move for sure, because it only does 40 damage. But it's definitely a way to get through some problems in the middle game. Ergo, Giovanni, having 2 rock type, there's just nothing we have that's going to be super effective against him. So Dragon Rage is a good alternative. Mimic we can't get till after we beat the second Giovanni anyway. But Mimic will be great for the maybe the last gym leader, Giovanni, in the Elite Four. It helps copy a move from the opposition. For example, when we face Giovanni, it's been a common strategy to mimic Dig off of the Doug Trio. Dig will pretty much one-shot most of the team, and with our attack stat, it'll work very well with that. Double Team, can't use. It's actually outlawed in my playthroughs because it's just too powerful. Reflect could be used, but it's not going to be used. I doubt it. Bide is a move we can use early. You can use it to have an extra move for power points. It's not the greatest move. That's why it doesn't have a very long shelf life, unless you're a Pokemon that can't hit ghosts, and then we have to have it. Fire Blast is literally the only special move we get. It's 120 base power and 85% accurate. Now, this sounds like a great move, but I just mentioned a while ago, our speed is kind of garbage, so it does not make sense to use this move. There might be like a one-off example in like the Elite Four where it could come in handy, but I doubt it. If anything's weak to fire, it's also weak to flying, so it makes no sense to add Fire Blast. Like, for example, our rival is going to have an Execute. I'm sorry, an Executor. Fire Blast would be pretty effective against it. However, if I just use some kind of flying move like Fly or even Wing Attack, that would be way more effective than Fire Blast. Because one, Fire Blast is special, our special is low, and Fly is a stab move. And it goes off our physical attack, so it's even more powerful. Alright, so Fire Blast we have available to it, but we're not going to use it. Swift, good move, 60 base power, works with our physical attack stat, does not miss. It just doesn't age well. It doesn't get any better, and we're not normal. If we were normal type, it'd be great because it's very powerful, and a very powerful move doesn't miss. You just can't beat that. And Sky Attack is 140, 90% accurate. I doubt we'll use this. I don't like Sky Attack. Sky Attack takes 2 turns. You're vulnerable in that second turn, and it's not highly accurate. That's why I usually use a different move that we'll show you here in a little bit. It's just way more reliable. Okay, and there's not a lot of power points with it. And to get through a lot of the game, I'll explain why here in a minute. Rest can be used, and I think we might actually have to use that in Elite Four. Substitute we won't use, and what Rest does, you put you sleep for 2 turns, but it heals all your ailments and your health. So full health, and gets rid of, like, if you're paralyzed or poisoned, gets rid of it. And then Fly, 70 base power, 100% or 95% accurate. With Stab, it's around, it's at 105. That's what it is. And I like using Fly better than Sky Attack. When you use Fly and you go up in the air, you can't get hit. Okay, you're not vulnerable to getting hit. It takes 2 turns, but you're not getting hit. Okay, and you can also use this as soon as you get to Celadon City. Celadon City, you can get this and add to your move set, and all of a sudden you go from having wing attack, which is 35 base power, this doubles your output. Straight up doubles your output of what you could potentially do damage-wise. You go from wing attack, which is 35 base power, 53 with stab, to this move, it's put you over 105 with stab. Completely, and you can't go without not having. Now the problem with fly is you can't remove it. So it's not like I can get to Elite 4, remove it, and put Sky Attack in. Okay, you have to stick with fly because it's an HM. It doesn't let you remove it. So let's say I get to the Elite 4 and I have fly and I want to add Sky Attack. Well, now I gotta get rid of the other moves I might use, like Hyper Beam in our badge boosting move. So now we're limiting ourselves on what we can do damage-wise, and we're doing that for a not so reliable move with not a lot of power points. So just throwing that out there. So that's our level up move, our TM move set. Looking at the Pokemon, there's not a lot of options for endgame move set. What I want you to do, if you made it this point, please comment down below what you think our endgame move set will be, and we're going to go over the rules of these playthroughs. These rules are kind of becoming a little bit obsolete because I don't actually use a Pokemon to catch a Pokemon in this game anymore. So what I would usually have to do if I didn't have a water type, and even if I have a water type, I do it now, is instead of actually catching a water type Pokemon, what I would do is I would just go get a good rod and try to like fish for one. Well, what I do instead is I just get the EV in Celadon City and then spend $1,000 and buy a water stone. Boom, I have a Pokemon that can do surf, and I don't have to catch anything. It takes and it's part of the time when in the next part where I say I pause the timer for a little bit. But I don't have to use a primary Pokemon in battle. I don't have to use HM Pokemon to catch other HM Pokemons. My routing is after Brock's Gym and after Route 3, right before we go into Mount Moon. There's a spot of grass where you can get Spearow or Pidgey, and I usually get a Spearow. The reason why I get a Spearow is if I'm going through Mount Moon, I'm trying to get a Paris, because Paris can learn Cut and Dig. But if you don't, and you come across a Geodude, you can catch it, and you can trade a Spearow to get a Farfetch. So Farfetch can learn Fly and Cut, and then Geodude can learn, he can learn Dig, and he can also learn Strength. So I don't really use my HM Pokemon to catch. That's also why Bide is useful, because Bide, you can just initiate Bide and Spearow will peck you a couple times, but it doesn't do a lot of damage, and then it deals back double, and it does knock him out. Our moves are too powerful at that point to not knock out the opposition. So that's why the rule number 1 is almost out the window. I just go to, like I said, I catch those 2 Pokemon I said in like Mount Moon or right outside Mount Moon, and then I go and I grab Eevee and evolve into Vaporeon, and then if I do get the Paris that I was looking for, I will fight Cobra Kai and get Pokemon for Strength. Either Hitmonchan or Hitmonlee. Usually just Hitmonlee. It's right there. So running clock for 3 exceptions are our second rule. The 3 exceptions are Lieutenant Surge's Gym, because you can't find the button right away. It's to prevent like a spin. I've spent times I walked in and clicked on the button immediately and opened the gate. And there's other times I've been in there for a good 10 minutes of real time. It's because inconsistent where it is. Now there are other YouTubers out there that actually code it, so it's automatically open when you walk in. I wish I was that cool with technology, but I'm not. It's like I just heard the other day at one of the YouTubers I watch, they code it so they have no interactions, no wild encounters in Mount Moon, which I think is insane. I think it's awesome that I can do that, but I'm jealous that I can't because I don't know the coding part. And then the second exception is when we get Celadon City, we pause the timer to buy stuff, sell stuff, do a lot of like shopping, basically, run errands, get Fly, go get Psychic if we need to, go buy this Water Stone, go get DEV. All those things are happening with the timer stopped because just want to take my time and get it done right. I don't want to sell the wrong thing or get rid of a move on accident because I'm trying to rush through it. And then the last one is if we need to get a move from the Rocket Game Corner, whenever it's selling coins, we'll pause the timer because in Generation 1, you can only sell 50 you can only get 50 coins at a time. You can't do 500 like you can in future gens. So that's why I do it that way. So those are the 3 exceptions to when the clock is stopped. There are no glitches or exploits in the game. Other than the badge boost, Missingo and Pokédoll glitch are not included. We can't use those. And then also no items in battle except for one item, and that's Ethers. And that's mainly to counter my negligence when it comes to not managing my power points. This is a speed run, so sometimes I'm always doing what's optimal for the time and not optimal optimal for everything else. So sometimes those things fly under the radar, but this is the way to counter that. Also, while you're here, I'd really appreciate if you liked, subscribed, shared, all that good stuff. Help this channel grow. Over 300 subscribers. I want to get to 400, and then 500, and so on and so forth. And the best way to do that is the help from you, sharing this, liking this, engaging in this, and it gets it out to more people. And yeah, go ahead and follow me on Twitter and Instagram as well. And let's go ahead and go back to the main slide, and I'll give my prediction. So this Pokemon has some great stats, but it really does not have a moveset that coincides with this. And this is like a lot of people's gripe with this Pokemon, is that it kind of got screwed, and I don't disagree. This is a rock Pokemon. It has 0 rock moves. We don't have access to Rock Slide, which I think would be a perfect move for this Pokemon. We don't have access to... it makes sense why we don't have access to Earthquake and Dig. I think Earthquake could be doable, not Dig. You're not going to look at an Aerodactyl and say, oh yeah, you could dig it under the ground. But I can look at Aerodactyl and say it can land on the ground hard and cause Earthquake. Okay, so I could say that. So we don't have access to any ground or rock moves that would work well with this Pokemon. Also think it doesn't make sense this Pokemon doesn't use Seismic Toss, because, I mean, literally that it can, look at it, it can do Seismic Toss. So, I don't know. But because of the shortcomings of its moveset, this Pokemon's going to take a while. And as usual in every playthrough, every playthrough with a flying Pokemon, we're going to have issues getting by Lorelei and Lance's first Pokemon. So Lorelei, more or less Lorelei though, because I think we have a counter for Lance's Pokemon. Lorelei has all ice type. This is a flying type, so we're already weak, but then we're rock, so we're double weak to ice. And not that she has any overly powerful Pokemon, it's just they're all going to be super effective against us. And we got to find a way to counter that. It's going to be tough, but we will find a way to counter that. We're going to win eventually. It's just how we do it. Whether we got to get some more levels throughout the flows of the game, or whether we have to have a good strategy and fight the battle with some good tactics. So I think this will take... I want to say I can get done under an hour and 30 minutes, but I know how Lorelei can be, so I think it's going to take a little bit more than an hour and 30 minutes. I would say an hour and 35, an hour and 40 would be I think that's actually low expectations. So I should want to get done under an hour and 30, but I just know how these Pokemon can be. Flying types and rock types. Not so much rock types, but more flying types. They definitely hit these brick walls, and they just don't have ways to overcome them. Now, like I said, we got some good stats, so we can always find a way. There's always a way to win battles. You just got to be smart and figure out when and where and why and how you do something. So that's it. That's the prediction for this Pokemon. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. The playthrough for this Pokemon will air on Friday. So on Friday we'll see Aerodactyl taking on Pokemon Blue. But that's it for me. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Any comment you have is much appreciated. I always engage back, so if you're worried about me commenting back, or if you want to have a discussion about something, more than happy to engage. So let me know what you think. Have a good one, and I'll see you guys on Friday.